cyclops. Cyclops in Greek mythology is cyclops pronounced /KLPS/ or cyclops Greek. Is a member of a primordial race of giants, each with a single eye in the middle of its forehead. The plural is cyclops pronounced IPA/Cyclopes/ or cyclops Greek. Point. In English, the plural cyclopses is also used. The name is widely thought to mean round or wheel-eyed. Hesiod describes one group of cyclopes and Homer describes another. In Hesiod's Cyclops Theogony, Zeus releases 3 cyclopes, the sons of Uranus and Gaia, from the dark pit of Tartarus. They provide Zeus's thunderbolt, Had's helmet of invisibility, and Poseidon's trident, and the gods use these weapons to defeat the Titans. In a famous episode of Homer's Odyssey, the hero Odysseus encounters the Cyclops Polyphemus, the son of Poseidon and a married Phusa, who lives with his fellow Cyclopes in a distant country. The connection between the two groups has been debated in antiquity and by modern scholars. Hesiod's Cyclops. In the Theogony, the Cyclopes Arges, Bronze, and Steropes were the primordial sons of Uranus Sky and Gaia Earth and brothers of the Hecatonchires. They were giants with a single eye in the middle of their forehead and a foul disposition. According to Hesiod, they were strong, stubborn, and abrupt of emotion. Collectively they eventually became synonyms for brute strength and power, and their name was invoked in connection with massive masonry. They were often pictured at their forge. Uranus, fearing their strength, locked them in Tartarus. Cronus, another son of Uranus and Gaia, later freed the Cyclops, a 1914 painting by Odilon Redden. Cyclops, along with the Hecatonchires, after he had overthrown Uranus. Cronus then placed them back in Tartarus, where they remained, guarded by the female dragon Camp, until freed by Zeus. They fashioned thunderbolts for Zeus to use as weapons, and helped him overthrow Cronus and the other titans. The thunderbolts, which became Zeus' main weapons, were forged by all 3 Cyclopes, in that Arges added brightness, Bronze added thunder, and Steropes added lightning. These Cyclopes also created Poseidon's trident, Artemis' bow and arrows of moonlight, Apollo's bow and arrows of sun rays, and the helmet of darkness that Hades gave to Perseus on his quest to kill Medusa. According to a hymn of Callimachus, they were Hephaestus' helpers at the forge. The Cyclopes were said to have built the Cyclopean fortifications at Tiryns and Mycenae in the Peloponnese. The noises proceeding from the heart of volcanoes were attributed to their operations. Apollo slew the Cyclopes in revenge, when Zeus killed his son, Asclepius, with a Cyclops forged thunderbolt. Homer's Cyclopes. The Cyclopes were huge one-eyed monsters that resided on an island with the same name. Commonly, the term Cyclops refers to a particular son of Poseidon and Phusa named Polyphemus, who was a Cyclops. Another member of this group of Cyclopes was Telemus, a seer. Polyphemus. In Book 9 of Homer's Odyssey, a scouting party led by Odysseus lands on the island of the Cyclopes and discovers a large cave. They enter into the cave and feast on food they find there. This cave is the home of Polyphemus, who soon returns. Odysseus and his crew attempt to befriend him in the cave, but he traps them instead. He proceeds to eat several crew members, whereupon Odysseus devises a cunning plan for escape. To make Polyphemus unwary, Odysseus gives him a skin of very strong, unwatered wine. When Polyphemus asks for Odysseus' name, he tells him that it is Autis, quote, Greek for no man or nobody. Once the giant falls asleep, as a result of being drunk, Odysseus and his men take the spit from the fire and drive it through Polyphemus' only eye. Polyphemus' cries of help are answered by the others of his race, however, they turn away from aiding him, when they hear that nobody is the cause of his woes. In the morning, Odysseus ties his men and himself to the undersides of Polyphemus' sheep. When the Cyclops lets the sheep out to graze, the men are carried out. Since Polyphemus has been blinded, he cannot see the men, but feels the backs of his sheep to make himself sure that the men are not riding them. As he sails away, Odysseus shouts, Cyclops, when your father asks who took your eye, tell him that it was Odysseus, sacker of cities, destroyer of Troy, son of Laertes, and king of Ithaca, which proves to be a catastrophic example of hubris. Knowing his attacker's name, Polyphemus asks his father Poseidon to prevent Odysseus from returning home to Ithaca, or to at least deprive him of his ship and crew. This tale from the Odyssey is more humorously told in the only surviving satyr play, entitled Cyclops by Euripides. The Sicilian Greek poet Theocritus wrote two poems circa 275 BC concerning Polyphemus' desire for Galatea, a sea nymph. When Galatea instead married Assus, a Sicilian mortal, a jealous Polyphemus killed him with a boulder. Galatea turned Assus' blood into a river of the same name in Sicily. Origins. Walter Burkert among others suggests that the archaic groups or societies of lesser gods mirror real cult associations. It may be surmised that smith guilds lie behind Cabiri, Idaean Dactyloi, Telchines, and Cyclops. Given their penchant for blacksmithing, many scholars believe the legend of the Cyclops' single eye arose from an actual practice of blacksmiths wearing an eye patch over one eye to prevent flying sparks from blinding them in both eyes. The Cyclops seen in Homer's Odyssey are of a different type from those in the Theogony. They were most likely much later additions to the pantheon and have no connection to blacksmithing. It is possible that legends associated with Polyphemus did not make him a Cyclops before Homer's Odyssey. Polyphemus may have been some sort of local demon or monster originally. Another possible origin for the Cyclops legend, advanced by the paleontologist Athenio Abel in 1914, is the prehistoric dwarf elephant skulls about twice the size of a human skull that may have been found by the Greeks on Crete and Sicily. Abel suggested that the large, central nasal cavity for the trunk in the skull might have been interpreted as a large single eye socket. Given the inexperience of the locals with living elephants, they were unlikely to recognize the skull for what it actually was. Veratrum album, or white hellebore, an herbal medicine described by Hippocrates before 400 BC, contains the alkaloids cyclotamine and gervine, which are teratogens capable of causing cyclopia holoprosencephaly. Students of teratology have raised the possibility of a link between this developmental deformity and the myth sharing its name.